I have done it. I've come up with a way to fix the first tutorial and just make it a million times better, plus adding some to really get the point across of how to get respawns to work and how to do infinite waves as well. So just not just one set number of AI spawners will do it, but several groups of them will as well. So you take that old node graph, the one with all the numbers, the counting, throw it in the trash, burn it, blow it up. I don't care. We're done with it. We're moving on to something that's a lot better, that will blow your mind with how simple it is. Now, the video is long only because I'm doing both. I'm doing I guess a revamp of the first tutorial, which didn't really warrant its own video by itself. So I'm going to go ahead and combine these two. So the first video will be covered in this, as well as the new stuff we're going to add, which is, of course, the infinite waves. So we're talking, let's say you have 3 sets of spawners that you want to spawn in a line, but you couldn't get to do that except one time. You want to do it endlessly. You want to kill this set, then you want to kill this set, then you want to kill this set, and then you want to start it over again. Well, we're gonna cover how to do that. So let's get into it. Okay, so map setup is generally the same. You want to make sure you have an initial spawn point, a respawn point in case things go bad when testing it. Of course, I have my zone set up down here, my AI spawn zone or move zone, so that way they will come up here and try to fight. That's it for all of that. Hopefully, you already know how to do all that. If not, it is covered in my first tutorial. But there are also shorter and other tutorials related more to that than this that you do. But to kick things off with the map setup, let's go ahead and get our spawners. Go down here to AI, get an AI spawner. It can be anything now, because what's great is now we can just load it down. Let's go ahead and grab unit 1, leave that as a grunt. We'll change the next one to an elite, and we're gonna fill this up real quick. Okay, so I'm not gonna fill these last two just because it's a lot of units, and I can do it, but it's just I'm not gonna worry about it. It's not a skill issue this time, more of a time related issue. Spawn logic, of course, you can change it to whatever you want. Trigger by script has to be on. That's it for that. Squad behaviors, don't worry about it if you don't want to. I'm going to set mine to magic site. Indexes, don't worry about it. And for the AI move zone, I'm going to select the AI move zone because I didn't name it because for, like I said, time purposes, but you might want to in order to make it better. We're going to name this one Wave 1-1, which, of course, if you're only going to have one, then you won't have to name them, really, because the way we're going to do this first method, you don't actually have to name your AI spawners, which is great, but if you want to change things later, you may want to go ahead and name them. So we're going to duplicate this several times. Okay, those are there. Now we can put down another one. We can put down a phantom, and we're gonna speed set this one up, but I'm only gonna slow it down for whenever we gotta change something that might be a little different from the regular spawn platforms. Okay, for seat preference, you can have it set to both left or right, so that way they jump out of the left or right side, depending on which way they come in, and that's completely up to you. The active turret, I keep it on, so that way it shoots at you whenever it's rolling in, and side gunner's the same thing, with 2 little grunts that'll shoot you with plasma turrets. The phantom vehicle drop is just for a vehicle. I'm not going to have one, so I'm not worried about it. Squad behaviors, you already know. And spawn logic is important. Trigger by script has to be on, and lastly, we need to link our move zone. And then that's it for the phantom. We don't have to name it. which I will come back and name them all once we actually have to set up the multiple waves. So that's it for this. All the map setup's done, which is crazy. It's not much. Now we create a script brain to implement all of this. Put it right here. And let's get into it. Okay, so to start, we're going to go ahead and create an event. You already know the event we're going with, and it's neither of these. It's this right there. On game start. Actually, it's up here. It's at our waves, AI waves. We're going to create a wave, and we're going to place it right here. So notice it says AI spawner list. This is important because now what we got to do is we have to find something that creates a list of all the spawners, or the spawners we want to use in this wave. For this example, where you want to spawn everything, get all AI spawners. That will be found in AI Advanced. Place it there, right here at the beginning. And you'll attach AI spawner list down to AI spawner list. Get all AI spawners is pretty much exactly what you think it is. It gets every single AI spawner in your map and creates a unified list of all of them. It treats them all as a single object. So in the last tutorial, whenever I was saying, hey, I'm pretty sure there's a way to make them all spawn without having to duplicate it, without having to make several copies of the AI spawners, well, this is it. This is how to do it. So now we got to edit this a little bit. The wave type needs to be default. The duration, don't worry about it. The duration is just like bonus waves from like Halo Reach when you would shoot the grunts, and the 30-second timer would run out and the wave would end and go on to the next one. We don't have to worry about that. The default is just because nobody really knows what the intermission does. So we're going to keep it on default. Okay, now we need this. We need a wave options right here. And to get that, of course, we're going to go to AI waves. Very bottom, wave options. I'm going to put this up here. Actually, no, we can leave it down here. Now, we got some things to change here, which isn't much. I'm going to set the incoming message to false to both of them, because if you have it set to true, you have to connect a UI message and all that good stuff, which I'm not going to worry about, which I can, but I'm not going to right now. Okay, delay spawn until buzz. It just means that it will wait to spawn this one spawn. It will wait to spawn the spawners until, or certain spawners, until there's enough room. Like, there's 32 maximum AIs allowed on the map at one time. I'm pretty sure with our Phantom and our spawners, we've gone over that, which is going to be crazy, but luckily I have a weapon to take care of that. Just for an example, I loaded the map down. So, extermination percentage. This is going to be important. You're going to want this to be 100. Remember, the last tutorial was I set up a kill counter to track how many kills you have to equal the kills needed to reset the spawner, which is the exact amount of AIs that spawn. Well, this is the equivalent of doing that, just way simpler and way better. No numbers involved. And you go ahead and attach wave options there, and that's done. Now, one of the last things we need to do is this is where the script actually connects. It's called add wave to wave manager, and you're going to go ahead and connect on game start to that. Generally, you can. I'm not going to do that though. You already know that I like to add one of these bad boys right here. Go down here in the logic, and I'm going to grab a wait for n seconds. So that way I kind of add a delay before the game just decides to throw me straight into hell. So we're going to set the timer seconds to 3. I'm going to set it to 3 this time. Just like before. There we go. 3 seconds. Now it's going to start and wait for 3 seconds. And now what we need to do is connect this wave, the add wave to wave manager. And the wave manager is kind of this imaginary manager that exists that you can technically create with this right here. So now the wave manager is set to default, which is the only one I'm aware of that works. So now this will spawn our NPCs. This will spawn our banished AI. This will get it to work, and they will all spawn at least once, but we want them to endlessly spawn the same way we did in the first video. So to do that, all we have to do is take these right here and duplicate them. And it turns into spaghetti really bad when you try to duplicate things, but that's okay. It's something we can kind of fix ourselves. There we go. Okay, so now if you want this to work, all we need to do is go up here, AI, Events AI. And what you'll see here is a bunch of things involving waves and everything. So what we're going to do is, since we only have one wave, just to be sure, we're going to click on any wave end node. Connect that here. And that's it. That is it. That is all you have to do. That's all you have to do to get them to endlessly spawn in. Notice how much simpler this is than adding a bunch of numbers and everything. So that's all you have to do for your endless spawn of your single wave that you want. That big wave of AI that you have set up that you want to just keep rolling in. Once you kill them, then go ahead. Now, if you wanted to, if you didn't want that little break in between, kind of like if you have let's say you have 32 AI and you kill 31, you have that one left and it's kind of quiet. If you don't want that, you can set this to 50. I'm not going to set that to 50 because it would take too long to get there. But yes, you can set that to 50, and then halfway through, when you get to 16, it will restart the spawners. And that's it. We're gonna give it a test run. Node graph built successfully. You know it works. I also added some flavor text. AI unit runtime has been reached, the limit. What that means is, well, more than 32 have tried to spawn. And that's fine. We're gonna blast them apart and free that up a little bit. There, so you notice I killed a few, and another phantom landed back there. Alright, here comes the last few. They're coming from that phantom that dropped them off. Oh, there he is. And there we go. It starts again. There comes a phantom. And here's a bunch of AIs down here. Oh, they're really coming in now. Yes, they will now endlessly respawn as long as you kill all the AIs. A lot quicker than the last time, for sure. So, now that we have that, I guess we can move on to the second half of the tutorial, which is the endless waves, which separates your spawns into select waves, so that way you don't get bombarded all at once, or if you, of course, you want to set up your different waves. So, I guess we get back here and we start to get into it. So, to start, I'm going to go ahead and rename all of our spawns to what they're supposed to be. Notice they get that, but we'll rename them. I'm going to go ahead and speed this up so we can get this over with a little quicker. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this actually one time, just because I have this set up as wave 3, so, and it'll be by itself, so we'll just try to fill it in a little bit by adding this to be wave 3 too. Okay, so now we've separated these a little bit. These 3 will be wave 1, these 2 will be wave 2, and these 2 will be wave 3. So let's go into our script brain and start this up. So what we can do, we're going to go ahead and get rid of this, all this down here. We don't need any of this, because it's going to be a little different at the end of this one. But we can keep this. I'm going to move this up here due to the fact that it's going to be used by more than one wave. So let's duplicate this twice. This down here, and put this down here. And of course, if that's the case, you're going to want to duplicate, not that, you're going to want to duplicate add wave to manager twice as well, because 3 waves, 3 add to wave managers. It's that simple. And of course, you connect the wave on each one, and then you simply connect the end of this one to the start of this one, so that way it knows in sequential order that this wave will be first, then this wave will be second, and then this wave right here will be third. So there we go. And of course, the wave manager will still be default on all of them. I'm going to wait for that, and then that's it. Now we go ahead and get our wave options selected over. So what's great is we can kind of pull it from the same one and attach it to all 3 for a lot easier time. Okay, now AI spawner list. We don't want to spawn all of our AI at the same time, right? No, we don't. So what do? We can go back out here and select all of our spawners. This is a way that the commenter told me about that said that you can select them all, go back into your node graph and press Y. This will give you the option to add object references, and now everything you have selected on your map will be added as an object reference without you having to manually add them yourself, which is such a helpful tip. I'm telling you, it saves so much time. You can still do it manually if you really need to, of course, but luckily we don't have to do that here. This is something so simple that it saves so much time. It's great. Now we're going to need to move these up a little bit. It's a lot of rearranging to do. But now that we have this room, we're good. So now how do we get these spawners to act as one for one wave? Well, that's really simple. We go down here to variables basic and create an object list. This will just create a list of things to act as one. You go ahead and connect all 3 of these, which is your first wave, into your object list, which will then be used for your AI spawner list. So hey, a list means it's a list. Isn't that crazy? So now all you have to do is repeat the process right here, duplicating that for each wave you have. Okay, so now that we have that, now we're at the spot to change things up a little bit. So how do we get this to repeat? So we get our first wave, we destroy it, it's done. We go to our second wave, we win. We go to our third wave, we win. So how do we get it to loop back around to start wave 1 again? Okay, so the way we do this to get your waves to spawn endlessly in order, yet endlessly. So 1 through 3, and then 1 through 3, and then 1 through 3. So what we do here is we go ahead and create an events AI, and it's called on wave end. This is important so that way it's not any wave, it's on wave end. And it technically can function as any wave, but the way we do it is going to be a little different. Okay, now we're going to get a little weird here with some of this stuff. So we're going to go ahead and grab these nodes. We're going to need a Boolean logic. We're going to need a Boolean not. We're going to need a branch. Go ahead and put this up here. We'll rearrange this in the way we need to once we get all the nodes out here. Gonna need a wait for in seconds. This is very important, actually. The wait for in seconds is super important. Okay. Then we need a logic compare. Put it down here. And now, for the most part, we just need one more. Go to AI waves and get wave manager status. The reason why this is important is because it's going to, it's going to use our wave manager that all of our waves are attached to, and it's going to find out certain things about it, which is has active wave. That means, is there a wave active currently? And luckily, that's what this is for. It will not have one. Now our queue size, which is how many AI are left to spawn in the wave. Like if it was to say the budget was reached and it was waiting to spawn a few more, that's the queue size. So what we're going to do is change it to make sure that it's going to be 0. So that way, if it is not active and the queue size is 0, which means no AI are waiting to spawn, connect that Boolean not and this A equals B, which means 0, to B. And as long as both of those are true, so this means if the wave is not active and the queue size is 0, which is where we get our AND right here, we connect that to the condition of the branch. On wave end, we need to go ahead and connect that here to the wait in seconds. And for this, I'm just going to set to 1 single second, because it's, as long as you have it set to that, then it will for sure work. Because if you don't have this, it will break. For some reason, it doesn't understand that when a wave is spawning, even instantly, that it's spawning a new one. So you have to have this to make sure it goes right. And I'm not sure why, but it's a key player. I've tried it with not having it and it doesn't work. So now that we have this, what do we need to happen? Well, exactly what you think. We need to take everything we did here and duplicate it, which all we need to do is duplicate it one time. Now this is going to turn into some ugly spaghetti. Oh yeah, that got ugly really fast. We're going to go move it down here, and I'm going to rearrange things a little bit. I'm going to speed it up so that way we can get this rearranged into a nice orderly fashion. Okay, now this is the last step. Now that we have this rearranged into a nice flow, all we have to do is connect this right here, this if true, which means if the wave ended and there's nothing coming, which means that the last wave has finally ended, then you simply add wave to wave manager the same way we did earlier with the get all AI spawners to repeat the process. And now you don't have to do it several times for every single spawner you have. You have to only duplicate the script one time, so that way the event that triggers it is different, because that's the only reason why we have to duplicate this in the first place, because we need 2 separate events to trigger this. So now when the game starts, the original wave will begin after 3 seconds. So once the 3 seconds is up, this wave will spawn. We finish this wave, we go to this one. So now when we get done with that one, we will go to this one. And then when this one is done, the game will say, okay, the wave is ended. It's going to wait for 1 second. So that way, because these don't have a second wait between them. So this, when it tries to say that this wave, the second wave ended, let's say this wave right here, when this ends, it's going to try to check, but this will already be spawning things by the time the 1 second is up. So that way our little thing right here will not work right. Not work right for that instance, which is why when the third one happens, nothing is going to spawn after it. So it gets that full second to complete this script. And then repeat the process in which this will loop back here and create an infinite flow of rounds. That's all you have to do with that. So now I guess we go ahead and test it and see what we have. Our node graph is built successfully, as you would expect, and we're gonna go ahead and come out here, and I already hear them. But notice the phantoms didn't spawn, And neither did, well, the other set of spawn platforms. Last round. Okay. Now the other two should be spawning for wave 2, and I hear them running through the woods. Oh, that's loud. Alright. Ah, there you are. There's a jackal left, and then once they're done, now our phantom should spawn. There they are. Technically, I could blow these phantoms up with this weapon, but what's the fun in that? And if you were to blow up both phantoms in this wave, or any wave that involves a phantom, it counts as killing every unit within that spawner. So if you were to kill both of those, that would technically end the wave and start a new one, or start whatever would happen after it. So it's dropping all the troops off now, which should be 2 grunts and 2 elites. Well, it might be more. I'm not sure. Okay. Now let's see. Waits for one. Ah, no. There was a third elite that I forgot that I put in one of them. Now that that's done, let's see. I hear them coming again. So now our 3 waves will repeat themselves. So I'm going to go ahead and speed up and kill all these guys, and toward the last kill of the phantoms, and see if it repeats like it's supposed to. Okay, so this should be the last kill of this phantom, which means it should start our rounds after 1 second. And there they are. You kind of see them all back there. So now you have endlessly spawning waves in the order that you want, and this isn't limited to just the waves we have. You can set up so many AI for each wave, and you can set up as many waves as you want. And there is a way, and it's so easy, to combine 2 lists into one, and then technically combine 4 lists into one. And all it involves is an object list combiner, which it's an object list, or it's an objects, and you combine object lists, and all you do is you connect 2 object lists like this one and this one. You grab right here and you grab right here, and then you connect them here to just like you would and plug it in, and then you use this in place of where AI spawner list would be. Now if you wanted to do 4, you would duplicate this and then duplicate it one more time, and then it would still count. So you can add in 4 lists of those objects and create them, and they act as one. So you can create 8 entire spawners. No, actually 16 spawners, my bad. 16 spawners that act in one wave. And you can keep going. You can really keep going. It's all up to you on that. But yeah, that is how you get an endless wave. So let's say you set up a entire wave of, or an entire set like Halo Reach or Halo 3 ODST. You get your 5 waves, and you get your round set up in between those. So 5 waves, a round over, 5 waves, round over, 5 waves, round over. And then when you finally get to the end of the game, when you kill the last of your strongest AI that you have set up, then it restarts again from the beginning. But you get to keep all your stuff that you've earned, of course, because you would still have it in your inventory, and then of course it would respawn as it goes. So that's how you do that. So we're getting super close to an official firefight type game mode with doing this tutorial. So it's getting so easy now to the point where I'm starting to understand everything. And of course video tutorials are helping with other things. So I kind of combine what I've learned from those videos into what I know, and we go from there. So as it stands, we're doing really good. And yeah, that's how you do it.